thinking about it.
The broadcast is live. Is it live?
Yeah, we're good. We
That's
are
all.
live.
Hey guys, Justin Brock here with Christian Brindle and Joanna from the block.
Yeah.
These guys are no strangers. Joanna runs Medicare Mentors and Insurance Ladies Group, and Christian runs Six Figure Medicare Agent. And I'm here with Medicare Gurus. And somehow today we're able to get us live in all of those groups, as well as Life. Which one's the other one?
Life and Health Agents.
Life and Health Agents.
And we're also in Medicare Agent Success and Retail.
Perfect. So we're in a bunch of groups right now and going live, trying to deliver some good information and talk about a couple of things. But, one of the things that I think is an important, conversation to be had, and what we put as kind of the primary topic here was Medicare or managed care evolution. And what I'm talking about is the expansion of Medicare Advantage and Affordable Care Act plans. And so I want to get some time for some people to get on here, and I want to be able to, get you guys to give some feedback in the comments. So please make sure you're leaving comments. We can try to pull some of those up on the screen if some of them are relevant and answer some questions. But I don't know if you can tell on your side how many people are on there. But I know how it goes with live. Sometimes you want to give it a little bit of time to get people on.
I can see, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can see how many people are watching live, and I can see comments on the right-hand side and things like that.
I see the comments. I just can't see how many people are on there.
We got about 19 people so far.
Perfect. All right. So here we go. Hey, it's the Medicare Marvel Avengers. All right. I feel like we really have to provide some value. So yeah, in the managed care conversation, there's a ton of private equity and public deals and all kinds of things that are going on in the Medicare space. And, when I see that much private equity or that much money coming into any industry, I think, what do people know that I don't? Because I know it's a good business. But what do they know about the longevity? When there's Medicare for All talk and all these different things that come up, and I see these big money groups throwing, all of this money at our issue. I don't know if my voice dropped 6 octaves, but if it does, maybe I sound like Morgan Freeman on here. That'd be great. But if we have all this money coming in, there must be something going on. And so I had been, reading and talking to NAHU people and talking to lots of people. And when I started talking to carriers, there was a guy actually at a NAHU meeting about a year ago that started making comments about how they believed, and this was actually up at a large Blue Cross group, that they absolutely believed that the entire healthcare market is going to shift to individual based sales. And so the investment that's happening into, the individual brokerage and call center arena is because they believe all group health eventually is going to fizzle out. With all the requirements there are to have group health right now, because they're consistently trying to raise taxes on groups or corporations, they keep talking about that. If they do that and they're able to raise it through payroll taxes, what's going to happen is the groups are going to bargain with them, say, hey, well, if we were raising taxes for us to pay for ACA and pay for, struggling Social Security system, and then reduce our requirement to provide group coverage, they can get ACA and Medicare Advantage plans now. And it's just as good, if not better, than what they're getting through us anyway. And it costs them less than they're paying through us. And we're already, pushing people into this system or pushing money into the system. So that is a big, sentiment and thought process at the highest level right now, is that the group system is going to erode. Medicare Advantage probably will start to be offered through Medicare age reduction. And the ACA is actually pretty vibrant right now. 3 or 4 years ago, everybody would have been like, oh, this ACA sucks. It doesn't anymore. It's good. It's working. And the Republicans had their chance to, and this isn't political, but they had their chance to get rid of it, and they didn't. So it's here. So anyway, the conversation here is, what are the pros and cons of Medicare Advantage, expansion? And I think, I'm going to start this and I'm going to turn it over to you guys. But the con right now, I think is going to work itself out. Big con I see with Advantage, and Joanna hit on it in Medicare Mentors the other day, is that they're terrible with skilled nursing facilities and home health care. That's like the number one black eye. And, I also have my disdain for the way skilled nursing facility employees try to educate them on and only educate them on half of the battle. But they aren't good. They do have a legitimate gripe with skilled nursing facility and home health care prior authorization. There are some things that are being floated about fixing that. So I think that's going to be great. On the pro side, for us, again, not political, but for us, where we're at with individual based sales apparatuses that we're all growing and attention that we're growing in that space, we're set up, to be the front lines of a huge, evolution. And so all these people that are selling right now, I actually think for the people that hold out, it's a really good deal. So if you can hold out and be part of it, and even if they probably don't participate and do well, because a lot of them still have skin in the game to some degree, right? So, but anyway, I think it's a great conversation. I think it's the conversation, and I think a lot of lower level people aren't getting to be privileged to that conversation because it's being had by private equity groups and publicly traded companies. But I see it happening, and I'm ready to hang on for the ride. So I hope you guys are excited. What do you guys think are the pros and cons of that if it's happening?
Well, I can say for me, we've always been probably more leaning towards Medicare Advantage in our office than we have been MedSup. Not that we don't do MedSup, but it's probably been a 70-40 thing, 70-30 thing for us over the years. And, I can say, like, when I started in the business, I think, Justin, you started a year before me. And you started in 13, right? So I think I started in 2014. And I know, like, when I came into the industry, when I first started, one thing that I can really look back on and notice with a lot of accuracy is Medicare Advantage benefits were not even close to what they are today. So if you look at the growth of the program, it's astronomical, right? Like, when I started, we were in my market anyway. I was only licensed in the one state at the time, but we were lucky if we had a plan that had dental, cleanings, x-rays, exams on the dental work. Very limited vision coverage, very limited hearing coverage. There was a lot of plans that had premiums, $30, $40, $50 a month premium, maybe $80 a month premium in some parts of the counties. And only the giant metropolitan areas had plan options available. Well, what did we see going from this year into next year? Well, tons of markets in counties and rural areas that didn't have plans are now having plans, or more plan options that just had a few plans. And so we're seeing the program grow year in and year out, not shrink. And I think, to me, what I get out of that is there's an emphasis on it, for some reason or another, right? Whether it's private equity groups, whether it's the government, whether it's the carriers, whatever the case might be, there's emphasis on the program. And I think it's just going to continue to grow to where, and not to mention, all the propaganda, the advertising, all the stuff that goes on all day, every day.
I think that's like, we're seeing I didn't even think about, the carriers have been all along investing in it because they see it as kind of the future of their business. I think United Healthcare early on, saw it, and Humana saw it before anybody. And they invested heavily. Joanna's in the Atlanta metro and in Georgia, probably had a little bit of a ground zero effect to Medicare Advantage expansion before we did. And but even the carriers, the provider, you're starting to see come around, especially probably not skilled nursing facilities as much, but definitely primary care providers with HMOs, and some of them are even evolving to be really broker friendly to develop the relationship for referrals, like Oak Street Health and some of these other groups where they want the business because they get involved in the recurring revenue model. One of the announcements I saw recently is Bain Capital invested $150 million into a startup in South Florida. But one of their goals is to write Medicare Advantage, but then turn it over to a separate entity within the same umbrella to then plug them into primary care provider relationships and help manage that ongoing relationship. And then they get a revenue split on the management of the primary care side as well. So it's like they're kind of double dipping the recurring revenue part of managed care.
Wow. I just wish it was like a more even playing field for not just the products that have the most override or the most money for the carrier, like nobody's playing the plan G on the TV, like I had somebody who was high IRMA today, and someone sold her an Advantage plan, and she didn't even know about a supplement, and once I did my quick little 3-minute T chart, she's like, I should have been on a supplement. And I was like, I would have agreed,
Yep.
And it's just not even knowing. And this goes back to my frustration the other day. I vented in my group about how a lot of agents aren't presenting both. They're just going after, they're calling themselves a Medicare Advantage agent, and they're just presenting Medicare Advantage as the only option. And I don't think it's fair. And I think that the carrier should go back to saying, hey, you can have a supplement or managed care. I've noticed that a lot of places are calling them Medicare replacement plans now. It was on a doctor's website today. It said Medicare replacement plan. I was like, wow, that's bold.
Not compliant terminology either, but
right.
That's totally so with we've always been like a heavy med sup shop, and Medicare Mississippi has evolved pretty rapidly in the past couple of years with the plan offerings. And we had like $110 PPOs with Humana, and a plan in was like $74.
Right.
So it made like 0 cents for a long time. But then, the DSNP evolution has been one of the big driving factors, I think, of Medicare Advantage, like being like, well, these are people that we couldn't help at all before. Now they can get $5,000 worth of dental or $4,500 worth of dental. But it absolutely, our turning 65 market, 98%, we're still doing plan G. And it's not because we're pushing or plan G, plan in, but it's not because we're pushing it. It's because we're educating. And then here, based on the price and product, comparison, if they're not dual special needs people, then it makes a lot of sense for them to go plan G. Now you get some people that are just averse to the idea of paying for insurance at all. And we do write a few, but most of our MAPD is we're finding other people that were on MAPDs, people that weren't on Medicare at all, people that are just absolutely averse to paying a premium for something, or their med subs have gotten super high and they can't afford it anymore. But at 65, if you educate them properly, I think a lot more people could sell med subs, but they're not being trained to do that. They're just being trained sell advantage. And a med sup, honestly, from a commission standpoint, from people that didn't write an advantage plan probably until 2016, med sups provide a pretty decent commission too. Like there's plenty of people that were loaded off of med sup only commissions long before advantage was a huge, playing factor. So the idea that advantage pays way more, and I know they harp on like lifetime renewals, but the thing about a med sup is, 6 years worth of renewals on average is normally you're going to rewrite it in 4 or 5 years anyway once the premium's gotten up. Maybe even they look at an advantage plan down at that point. But I also hate people selling on trial right, because people forget about it until 15, 16 months in, 18 months in. Now the trial right's gone. I always tell them we can always change you to an advantage plan later, but you have your Medigap open enrollment plan period now. I don't believe right now, this is what's funny, is I don't believe managed care evolution will immediately hurt our traditional Medicare and Medicare supplements. I could be wrong on this, but I think that it'll hurt more of like your non-government affiliated private health insurance, private markets, group health first. The Medicare supplement market is still growing right now, and the Medicare Advantage market is growing so much more rapidly because of the dual expansion and the geographic expansion of Advantage plans. I do think the last phase will be when you start really seeing Medicare supplements drop off. But at that point, I also think the Advantage plans will be better and the ACA will be better because the doctors will be forced to work with them more. And right now, one of the hardest things I think Advantage plans have to get over is when doctors won't work with them to kind of figure it out. But yeah, definitely, to Joanna's point, everyone should be educating a client on both options if MedSup is still an option. And if that's Matt Murray telling me to dab if it's not live, yeah, I might look stupid.
Always. Every Taco Tuesday that's ever happened, dab or it's not live.
But yeah, I do think that a lot of money is coming into the market if it's not already here. We see the expansion of a lot of smaller brands coming in. Clover, even Kaiser wants the independent agent money now. Devoted is growing. A lot of those other smaller carriers are growing, and everybody wants a piece of this pie. And they're competing for it, trying to give $5 more on some dental and everything to get that consumer. They're adding food cards to regular plans, not even D-SNP plans, utility cards, and everything's being added, trying to make it more robust. That's good for the consumer. It's just, I wish they would focus on the bottom line, that MOOP, like here in Georgia, I have 7,550 MOOPs, and that's the standard. Yeah, we have a couple of 3,400s on LIS plans, but I mean, LIS is, not a huge portion of the country,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. The LIS threshold is so low that I love telling my clients when they're making $1,500 a month, we'll say, yeah, they think you're rich. So I'm like, what's low income? 1,500 is not low income. 1,200, oh, that's low income. It's just a brick wall.
Now, if everybody was like Florida, then it would be crazy sales, right? Today, I sold 2 give backs in Florida, $145 give back on each, and there was still low copays on those. Still $0.
3,000 MOOP, 2,500 MOOP. Yeah.
2,500 MOOP, $25 to go see a specialist. It still had dental vision. I was like, man, I need to sell Florida more.
Yeah.
The thing,
Vegas has $1,000 MOOPs on regular PPOs.
Same out in LA. I wish everything was like that.
The craziest Medicare Advantage market I've ever had clients in that comes to mind for me is Miami, like Southern Florida, because you'll have $0 hospitalization copays, like legitimately, like they pay nothing in the hospital, $1,000 MOOP, things like that. And Florida is an interesting market too, because there's so many plans, right? There's so much competition there that it's almost like a frenzy for people just to replace plans, right? Like as often as they can. With Medicare supplement, like, not that people don't go out and try to replace Medicare supplements, but it's certainly not as easy to do as it would be for Medicare Advantage. And I think that it's going to be interesting what's to come, because I don't think that we would see the focus on Medicare Advantage and managed care like we would if the government wasn't down with it.
Yeah.
If the government was down with it in some capacity.
So if you're watching this whole video, I haven't come down pretty hard on Medicare Advantage. Somebody wrote that in the comments, but when you write an article and you pay, so I'm on a lot of paid editorials. We pay money to be part of those editorials. The whole purpose of them is for me to get attention. They're not really directed at agents. I did have one recently that went viral. I got a lot of flack for it from people, and the whole point was it said 3 reasons to avoid enrolling in a Medicare Advantage plan. If you read the article, I didn't say you shouldn't get a Medicare Advantage plan. I said these are reasons not to get a Medicare Advantage plan, as well as I said in the subtitle, there are definitely reasons to consider getting a Medicare Advantage plan. But the whole point is to grab what people are searching for. And people are searching for the disadvantages of Medicare Advantage. I need to have an article that do that. If you go to Danielle Kunkel's site, she has an article up that I'm sure does really well that talks about why you shouldn't get a Medicare Advantage plan. And then it says in parentheses, or should you? You're just kind of gaming the search. And that's what we're doing. We're writing a tremendous Medicare who were a few years ago, I do see the writing on the wall that it's a huge part of our future, whether I liked it or not. And so the market for me is not personal. It doesn't matter if I like it or I don't like it. I don't really care. All I have to know is what is the market going to do? When I look at Joe Namath commercials, I could sit here and be like, do I like it or do I not like it? It doesn't really matter if I like it or not. I don't like it. Honestly, I think it's been good for my business. It's also been annoying. It's annoying to answer the question over and over again, but they're asking questions, and when the consumers are confused and you're the expert, and when there's a lot of confusion and chaos in the air, we tend to do well. One of the things my dad used to say was, every time the government tries to screw up our business, we make more money. So I don't really think about it personally, and I'm definitely not being hard on the Medicare Advantage. I'm just trying to get the attention, and hey, it worked. You're talking about it in the comments right now.
Right.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because so we have 2 YouTube channels. We have one that's for consumers for our agency, and obviously we have Six Figure Medicare Agent. But my other YouTube channel, the videos that have spiked the most and gotten us the most views are the ones where I'm basically like reviewing the commercials. I'm reviewing the Joe Namath commercial. I'm reviewing the Jimmy JJ Walker commercial. And we get people that search those commercials out and they find our channel. Like I've got like the Go Medicare video that's got like 7,000 views. I calculated the other day, we got 35 clients or more from that one video that have called into us. And so I think it's only a negative if you let it be a negative, right? How you respond to things as a business owner and as an agent is going to be the determining factor. Like Justin said, the market's going to do what the market's going to do. It doesn't really matter how you feel about it. It's going to happen. So how can you respond to it? Right. And a lot of people that called me from those videos that enrolled with my office, they bought freaking Medicare Advantage plans once we,
when I wrote that article, I had my own clients were reaching out to my team and saying, you just put me in an Advantage plan. But listen, this is how little some of them know about it. I had one call me on my personal cell phone, somebody I wrote in her house years ago. And one of my agents in our core office had written her a Medicare supplement plan in. And because he said she had a copay, she called me back. She's like, I need off of that Medicare Advantage plan. So then I happened to answer it. I knew her, and I was at that time, I had some time. And so I sat down and looked at it, and I was like, listen, Barbara, you're on a plan in. You're not on an Advantage plan. So they don't really know a ton about it. And so the big thing that, our big goal is just to get attention. And, sometimes, headlines, like if Christian's reviewing the Medicare Advantage commercial, he's pointing out the inadequacies in that commercial and why it's bad. Doesn't necessarily mean Medicare Advantage plans are all bad, but it does mean that there are probably people that look at the information in that commercial, enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan, who shouldn't have, based on some misknowledge.
Yes.
So,
Right.
and I'm not saying somebody won't read my article, cancel their Advantage plan, and they shouldn't have, but I can't be responsible for that.
Can't worry about that.
So. But yeah, Scotty said these commercials are a crutch for agents needing a scapegoat. That is true. I think that a lot of agents are complaining about them. I don't see them. I think that I've seen them be beneficial to us overall. I think that they've caused a frenzy. Actually, the first year they started running them, we still did not have Advantage plans really expand into the area yet. So we had Humana, but it wasn't a big player here. They had some network issues, and they had like $110 premiums and stuff. So it wasn't a player, but it still brought in a lot of traffic. And we were writing a lot of med subs off of people coming in on the Namath commercial. So, and I just wish the call centers would do the same thing and train them on med subs as well, so that they weren't always, but that's a little harder, because then they got to deal with underwriting and all that kind of stuff. So
it's interesting, because like when I started, my perception was that the call centers were always pitching med sup and only med sup, and they flipped now.
There was definitely the Spring Venture Group was big med sup. Jagger, who's probably does lean more med stuff still. Beish, and even Beish will tell you since his partnership with Amerilight that they're doing like 70% MA now.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Hey guys, I'm gonna go to the restroom.
Okay.
I have a baby black.
We got this. We got this. We'll hold down the fort. So, Joanna, I had something I wanted to mention about ACA.
Yes.
Let's talk about ACA.
Let's talk about ACA.
So recently we had a conversation about ACA, and I was like kind of negative about it, right? And you were like, right? And so I've started doing, since open enrollment started for ACA, we started to do, rewrites and also writing new clients and things like that. And I've seen a lot of similarities at least in my market anyway. I don't do ACA in a ton of markets like I do Medicare Advantage, but I've noticed that the plan benefits seem to be increasingly stronger year in and year out, right? Like we had 2 years ago in my market anyway, I don't recall us having any plans that were $0 deductible ACA plans. Now we have several. I just enrolled myself in one for next year. And so it's interesting because there's a lot of expansion that seems to be coming from that.
So a lot of carriers expanded a lot for ACA for 2022. I mean, United Healthcare came back to the market. Aetna came back to the market. Oscar expanded tremendously. Here in Georgia, it used to be just Anthem and Ambetter and a little bit of CareSource. And now, like Oscar and Metro Atlanta has like the lowest premiums. And I told somebody today, I was like, you're not going to be able to, get away from Oscar. You're going to need it, And the commissions came back. That's what a lot of agents are like. I was told that, ACA didn't pay. I'm like, well, that was probably like 5 years ago when, everybody lost their commissions. But now some of the carriers are paying me over $30 per person per month for something that takes less than 20 minutes to do. And you bundle it with like a Nat Gen plan enhancer and some dental. And, that's over $1,000 commission for 20 minutes, right? So the agents who haven't gotten comfortable with Medicare yet, we have an FMO and everything. I say, write some ACA. It pays even more than Medicare. It's as earned, but if you write 100 ACA people, and that might only be 25 families of 4, that's easy. You can do that in a week, 2 weeks maybe if you're shy or whatever, but that's 100 lives. That's $3,000 a month in residuals that, a Medicare agent took, weeks to write. 100, that takes weeks to write for a Medicare agent. So why not get that money? And you're going to age them into Medicare. So you might as well learn it now, right? Somebody has a 54-year-old spouse, right?
Well, that's like, it's crazy. The under 65 market has become a huge funnel of Medicare prospects for us. Because if you service like that 50 to 64-year-old block, you get somebody for under 65 and their husband's on Medicare already, or you get somebody for you get somebody that's 63 and they're aging in the next 2 years. So it becomes a huge funnel for that as well. And like you're saying, you're making money in the meantime. Even before I could sell ACA, I used to enroll people on healthcare.gov in ACA plans when it wasn't commissionable or I couldn't get appointed with Ambetter or that kind of stuff. And, I would enroll them for free. I try to cross sell them something like dental or some of those things, but I just viewed it as like, this is my prospect. And so I have a really problem with people that are acting like they don't have anybody to talk to and they won't like prospect for free. For me, prospecting is helping somebody with something that I know how to help them with, even if I don't get paid for it. Yep. If you got more time than money, spend it helping people and eventually it'll come back to you.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, guys, we got after AEP is over, we'll have some events coming up too.
Yes.
Have some things that I'm sure a lot of people are aware of. We got Christian's next in June 10th.
Yep. 10th and 11th.
Can't believe
Good
I know.
memory. Good memory.
6-figure Medicare Summit, first annual in Salt Lake City. I'm excited about that because I've never been to Salt Lake City, and I hear Utah's pretty awesome. So excited to hit up that one. Got a star lineup. There's somebody who's awesome named Joanna that's going to be speaking there. Some clown named Justin Brock will be there. A lot of other good speakers. We got Medicare Con just before that, a couple months in Birmingham, the big city of Birmingham. I swear next year I'm going to hit some like thriving metropolis that everyone can fly into super easy. But Birmingham's an improvement from Memphis, I assure you. We have a great resort. We're going to be hitting up that somewhere that me and my wife go a lot on weekends anyway. That's why I picked it. It was really nice. But that's a couple of things. What else we got going on next year after AEP?
You've got behind the agencies, right?
We do have a behind the agency in February. I don't know the dates past that. Those have been really fun. Christian, you came to one. It was it's been really fun. It's a little more intimate, when you're looking at 15 people coming in and just getting 2 days of really seeing like what we do behind the scenes, and and you're getting to spend a lot of quality time with people. And the after hour stuff's kind of fun. Christian dipped out on us one night, and then Jackie stayed up really late and was texting him, and he regretted it.
Yeah, I was like, I should probably go back and go to bed, and then I'm in my hotel room, and Jackie's like, messaging me. She's sending me videos of like them having a great time. I'm like, oh, I screwed up. I left before the fun happened.
You're missing out. Yeah, it's gonna be a great year.
FOMO.
Christian was being a good guy, getting his rest. Went home to talk to his family on the phone.
No.
But you like when Chip came, he did all that. He went and he talked to his family on the phone, and then he came out and we sang karaoke. So he did both. But no, so Six Figure. Tell us a little bit more about Six Figure in June, Christian.
Yeah. Well, we're really excited about it. Everybody in my office is very excited about it. We've put a lot of work into it already to kind of make sure that everything's going to be lined up and ready to go. We got some great speakers. Of course, both of these wonderful individuals on today will be speaking, taking the stage, and we're so excited to have them participate and help. And we got people like Galen Hendricks, the Queen of the Bundle, speaking. We got people like Danielle Kunkel-Roberts, Boomer Benefits, speaking. We have Eric Fierro. My everybody that I mentioned is a good friend of mine, but my probably bosom buddy, Glenn Shelton, is going to be speaking. Justin Thomas. I mean, the list just goes on and on. Tracy Lonesberry. We got a really great lineup of speakers. Rebecca Davis, Medicare Wonder Woman. So I'm really excited about it. Tony Merwin was nice enough to MC it for us after seeing how a great job he did this year at Medicare Con. I asked him, and he was, he graciously accepted. And so it's going to be a great event. It's going to be a 2-day packed event. And kind of the plan is on Thursday, when most people are going to be flying in to Salt Lake City, we're going to be having a welcome party that first night, maybe at a location about 5 minutes away from the hotel. And then lunch will be served on us as part of the ticket for Friday as well as Saturday. And it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great event, and we're really excited about it. We're looking forward to it. And Salt Lake City is beautiful in that time of the year in the summer. So you can see the mountains, and if you've never been to Salt Lake City, it's an experience. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, no, we're gonna bring the crew, and we're gonna have a great time. We have some of the same overlapping speakers, but I know at Medicare Con I'm excited about a couple of guys like Jagger and Beish that are going to speak, and can bring, I think, some great value from that call center arena and all the stuff that Beish is learning at AmeriLife, by getting into being the president of their call center sales for entire AmeriLife. And then we have Brandon Clay coming, who's my favorite. Like, he's, even if he didn't know anything about Medicare, he'd still be one of my favorite speakers. So, he always gets up there and does a little Michael Jackson dance. So I'm excited about that. But it's going to be a great time. We're doing a 3-day event this year. So the idea is the first day is going to be a lot of breakouts. We get a whole lot of different, and I went and called them breakouts, but really it's like classroom setting. What we're looking to do is do 4 classes at a time for 4 sessions that day. And we're trying to break them up, to where you have different, like 4 different categories. One's more like sales, one's more like technology, one that's more, whatever. But that way, somebody that has like their favorite tech speaker, their favorite, all these different things, they'll be able to see all of those different categories. And it hopefully will be structured in a way where they're not like having to choose between 2 people that they really wanted to see based on what they're looking for. And then, of course, the main stage days would be great. But I'm really excited about it this year because we've pumped a lot more money into it. The venue is a lot better. We went out and done a site visit, and we're going to do another one in January because they're doing some renovations right now. But I'm really excited because, I put up a post the other day, and I was saying, some people unfortunately they go to too many events. They don't use what they learn. And so Josh Lustig at the first Medicare Con said, if you pick up one thing from the event or one thing from each speaker, if you don't get the paralysis of analysis, pick up one thing, go back, implement it. Pick up 2 things, go back, implement it. Don't be like, wow, because look, you can go to an event, especially like these types of events. There are some that are more like they just jazz you up and you just want to conquer the world, but you don't really know what to do with all the energy. And then there's some like these that there's a little bit of that energy, but there's a lot of networking, a lot of ideas, and it can be all the way on the other side where there's just so many ideas about how to expand your business. You're like, what do I do? Mm-hmm. You just got to pick something and go. But don't use paralysis of analysis. Don't become the event groupie. Pick a couple of times a year to go to something of value, network, enjoy it. I like events. I enjoy them. I did before I was ever doing any of this kind of stuff. And I got a lot out of them. But, I was always the guy that go meet some people, start drinking with one of them, get him to spill the beans about all his secrets to me, and then go. And that worked really well for us, was going out and networking and going to them. But you gotta look at it like that. You're there to have fun. You're there to network. You're there to make this more than just a job. But then also look for that next thing that's going to take you to the next level. Because there's going to be people there that are super successful. There's people there that are much more successful than me. There's at all of them. And so you got to get in there and learn from those people. But hey, you know what? I think it's very interesting that you learn sometimes from people that aren't as successful as you. So I've been on carrier trips with somebody where that was the first carrier incentive trip that they won, and it was my 5th. But I learned something from them, because a lot of people have value even if they're not where you're at. They've figured something out. So don't look at it as I have to get around, Galen Hendricks. Like, Galen's going to be at both of these events. But you don't have to, it's not like you have to get it from her or Danielle, who are like, they're at the apex of some of these, these things, or Jagger, or these people that are like the apex. Everybody that you're there with, whoever you can get time with and build a connection with, a ton of those people can be valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just build relationships. And some of those people that are in the audience now that nobody knows are going to end up being that Jagger Ash or that Danielle Kunkel down the road that are, huge, have these huge agencies. They were in the audience somewhere before. They were working. Jagger was a AmeriLife recruiter years ago. He was just another, he was a man, a cog in the machine at AmeriLife. Now he's got a business that probably anybody that works at AmeriLife would love to have. So anyway.
I'm excited. I love events. I know a lot of people it's not a rah-rah. It's not a rah-rah. We didn't rah-rah, I got a lot of, I was at Medicare Con this past year, and it was a great 2-day event, except Uber doesn't do Memphis or something.
I think the blizzard, you guys got there right after a blizzard had come through, and listen, Memphis and the South. Well, you're in Georgia, we're not equipped to handle blizzards, so it shuts us down hard. And so it was like right after that, it was, and then we're still vaguely post-COVID.
Yeah.
Memphis, like my version of Memphis, like 2019, crazy amounts of Ubers, no problem. But it's just taken some time to recover. Memphis has some real growing pains. Birmingham's actually a little bit past that. They actually had some issues years ago, and they've started to kind of make it come around. We've actually spent a lot of time in Atlanta recently, Joanna. I've had a great time.
Nobody's came to see me.
Hey, I think the first time I came, I saw Jesse Smedley while I was out there. But normally I'm letting my daughter Grace and my wife do all the event planning.
Okay.
Fabulously for me.
I'll blame the wife.
Yeah. We went.
That's a safe alternative.
Six Flags. It was awesome. We did the VIP tour. We got to skip all the lines.
Oh,
I came
nice.
back and I was telling everybody, I was like, you got to go. They're like, Six Flags? Six Flags sucks. I was like, no, you got to do the VIP tour. Skip all the lines. It's awesome.
Yeah, I live about 10 minutes from Six Flags. It's pretty cool.
I should be like the chairman of tourism for Atlanta now.
You're an expert. You've done it all.
Yeah.
So outside of your two events, what other events do you think agents should invest their time in, if any?
Good question.
I am a proponent of 8%. It is I would say it is the mega. I would say it is a rah-rah event, but that's not me demeaning it. I think everybody needs, or not, maybe not everybody, but some people need a little rah-rah in their life, getting around, a very good speakers, a good party. Cody put in a lot of production into that event. It is, it's a good time,
It is a good time.
And
I would say
that's important. Everybody should want to have a good time,
Yeah. I mean, I went to 8% for the first time this year, and I got a diamond ticket. Before I left, I bought a fire ticket for this upcoming year because I had such a good time. So I would second that. I think 8%. For me, I looked at the speakers as a lot of rah-rah. Like, it's fun, it's exciting, it makes you feel good, all that stuff. But I think where I got the most value from a perspective of implementing into my business was through just spending time with people, after the event. I probably got more value from that, but not to say that I didn't get any value from the speakers, because I got value from the speakers, but
I'm notorious for fumbling around in the hallway while speakers are speaking. I did sit through Patrick Bet-David's speech completely, and he blew me away. I became a huge. I knew who he was. I knew PHP, all that. But I left that with just a tremendous amount of respect for him. His practicality spoke to me very well. And so some of them, like, I like ET, like I've listened to a ton of his videos, but he doesn't do it for me the way that that Patrick Bet-David did. As far as mega events like that, it is definitely when I say rah rah, it's a lot of jazz from the stage, and it's a lot of production quality and all that. But again, if you get the right people there, you can learn from the people. You can meet up with people that So figure out who's going. Do you know people that are going? You're going to get the value from them. A lower level ticket just to be involved to some degree is not expensive. And then as far as value packed from stage, I would say the niche conferences are more appropriate for that. So if you're in Medicare, a conference talking specifically about Medicare is going to do that. Cody can't have Medicare, like if he had a bunch of Medicare speakers from the main stage, there's going to be a whole bunch of P&C agents that are like going to sleep. They don't know what they're talking about, even life agents. So his has to be a little bit more broad. It's just the nature of being general insurance. Whereas me and Christian are throwing an event where we get to get in the weeds, because we expect that when you come there, you understand at least a little bit of this stuff, and what you don't understand, it's not so far off the path that you're not able to pick it up and learn it at the event. So, so anyway, there's room for both. If you had to go to one, Medicare Con, of course. Well, it would. I'm just kidding, but it would depend on your schedule. If you had to go to one, I would pick something that's definitely going to help you and that works with your schedule. If you had to go to two, then you might start looking at what works with my schedule. Who do I know that's going to be at these events? Who do I want to see? Start looking at speaker lineups.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that the biggest mistake somebody could make is thinking that the events are fluff and not going to even one of them. And I guarantee you, if you go to one, you'll be like, you know what? I'm going to try a couple others. And then over time, you might think, okay, this is the one I want to go to every year. I'm going to go to one. Or these are the two that I'm going to go to every year. I want to go to two. But you got to figure that out. And there's a lot of people that just really negative Nancy, the events, and they're not getting out and they're not meeting the people and they're not understanding that, yes, you could meet people without events. But you're going to go like 1 and 2, like I'm going to have to go to Atlanta and see Joanna. I'm going to have to go to Salt Lake and see Christian. Or I can go to Salt Lake to Six Figure Medicare Summit and I can see, 50 people that I want to meet.
Mm-hmm. So 8% 2019, I was still working at Social Security. I quit a month later after that event because I was surrounded by friends who gave me the push to say, you can do this. You're ready. You have, your first 50 clients already. You know how to do this. You're ready, And it was just that camaraderie that I got there, the support that I got there. I mean, there was, I probably knew about 200 agents there and everything, but it was the support I got there. Yeah, there was a little bit of rah-rah, but I wasn't there for the speakers. I was there to see Justin. I was there to see Galen. And, I talked to a lot of agents, and one of them, Steve Lowe, spent an entire Sunday with me just hanging out, like answering some questions I was still mysteriously about, And I just enjoy events for that, getting around my friends. I mean, where else can you take Christian out to dinner and get the scoops and stuff, So
that inside track on
that was a great dinner, by the way.
When you guys meet in person, people like sometimes we get an idea about who people are, online, and they're not that person in person at all, or vice versa. Sometimes you might think somebody's really nice online and they end up not being so nice in person. But more times than not, I think, the humanity of meeting people in person, you realize everybody's just trying to help each other, because most of us that are there understand you're going to get more flies with honey than vinegar. And so helping other people just comes back to you. I just feel like it's natural. Most people are good. Most people want to help. Most people get gratification from sharing something that helps somebody else. But they're going to get way more gratification doing that in person than putting it on the internet.
Right.
Yep. I mean, it was crazy because I remember, the last night at 8%, we were wherever the hell we were. I don't even remember what that place was called, but I walked up to a table to talk to Bob, to Medicare Bob. And I didn't realize he was sitting there with Eugene Marchenko.
Oh, wow.
And I'd never met Eugene. And so, Bob and we knew who each other were. So we started talking, and then we ended up doing a video together shortly thereafter, kept in touch a little bit. Like that kind of stuff is really valuable, like making connections with people that you probably wouldn't have got the chance to do otherwise, and that's kind of what I look at as the biggest value in some of these big time events. Like I never went to like an event for the industry until this year. And I went to several this year, and I'm probably going to do more next year. And so it's going to be a big part of what we do and what I do. And so, yeah, I think, I probably had a lot of conceptions about events before I went. But every conception might be partially accurate to some degree, but it's never exactly the way you picture it. There's a lot more there that you're not expecting it to be like, and it's just there's no like experiencing it. So I think there's so many great events going on next year. You can't go wrong with them. But go if you're go to two, go to the summit and go to Medicare Con, and you're good.
What's funny is people always complain, like insurance agents always complain that people try to sell you stuff, right, at events. It's so funny to me because like, okay, I went to a lot of events early on. I didn't buy anything. I would just go to the event. I'd meet the people. I'd get my value out of that. But I never got mad that anybody was trying to sell anything. I just didn't buy it. I have bought a couple things since then. Marshall Silver closing. He hypnotized me, I guess. But anyway, the funny thing about that is it's a bunch of salespeople complaining that someone's trying to sell them something. Like, you can't say no.
I don't know.
Those people are suckers. Like, we're the easiest people to close. Like, I'll buy anything.
Easiest to close.
I'll buy anything.
It's crazy though, because we have money, right? We're not broke, right?
Yeah.
And we expect someone to pay us for our knowledge, but people don't want to pay you for your knowledge. Like, it's weird, right?
Yeah.
Like, I asked Christian a question a couple weeks ago, and I paid him on PayPal.
Yeah, just out of the blue.
Answer my question.
Just out of the blue.
Because I don't have to, but it was out of respect for his time, you know.
You know what's funny about that is I respect people's time so much that the other day I took one of those Pakistani transfer calls. It was, and I get on the phone with this guy, and he's in Medicare Gurus now. He's a select quote agent, right? And
He's in Gurus.
I was going through the whole. He wasn't at the time. He is now. But I went through this whole call with him, and I pretended to be this elderly person. And at the end, he was so nice. He was such a good agent, and they're not all. A lot of them are. I've gone through a lot of them. A lot of them are terrible. But this guy was so nice and so good that at the end of it, I felt really bad. So I reached out to him, and we, you know, he was irritated at me at first. I Venmo'd him $100. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, you might have made $100 if I didn't waste all that time. I wasted a lot of his time, and I just felt bad. And so I Venmo'd him $100, and then he's like, you know what? Don't worry about it. That's awesome. It's a good story. Maybe we'll do something together later on. So he joined Gurus, and I get his cell phone number, and I'm like, you know, who knows? After AEP, maybe he wants to go independent, and we can work together. But that was funny. And then you know, there's other times where people, I feel like, are forthcoming and are going to give me information, and I just immediately, like you said, I'm a quick sell. I sell it myself. I'm like, I'll pay you. You know, I'll pay you for that information. I'll pay you for that time. There was a guy on Twitter the other day I wanted to collab with on something else, on some content production. He's a writer for like CNBC and Time and a whole bunch of places, and he was definitely not going to try to sell me anything, but he was real nice and give me advice. And I was like, man, I'd really like you to write an article. What's your rate? And he's like, well, it's, you know, he was like trying to talk me out of it. Like, it's really high. It's, you know, it's because they pay me so much at these places. It's $500 for 1,000 words, which is a high article rate. And he said, you know, most people are not going to pay that. Don't worry about it, you know. And I was like, no, I'll pay you $500 for an article, because I see the value in maybe having him on our site for SEO and all these other things. But I see the value in what people do, and I think that if you can't see the value in what other people do, then you know, it's hard. And I'm not saying everybody has value, but it's hard for you to go and expect other people to see the value in what you do if you can't see the value in what other people do.
100%.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
you know, that's
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, guys, this has been really fun. We should do this more often.
Yes.
You know, in case you didn't know, to StreamYard, you have to be an admin in the groups that you're streaming in. So Christian could sabotage the entire Facebook group community tonight and shut us all down.
It would be Christian.
Justin and I were joking before we went live on here, and Justin was like, you could literally destroy every other group right now except for yours. And yeah, I'm like, I guess I could. It's a good feeling for tonight to be an admin in every major Facebook group.
There you go. Delete them all. Everybody has to be in six-figure Medicare agent. Then.
You have no choice, guys. We're the last man standing.
We trust Christian. He wouldn't do that.
Yeah. I trust my wallet.
I've had too many arguments and laughs in both of your groups to ever want to do that.
Right, that's right. They all help each other anyway and feed one another, so it's all the same. Well,
so the Facebook world has been evolving as much as Medicare Advantage has evolved.
It has. It has evolved. The whole internet and the way that insurance agents receive information and share information has been evolving, and hopefully we can stay on top of, keeping that, a positive growth trend.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, guys, I've had fun.
Thank you.
I'm gonna head home to the fam.
Yes.
Hope you guys enjoy your night, your evening, and if anybody wants to reach out to any of these guys, you know where to find them. Medicare Mentors, Six-Figure Medicare Agent. You can find me over in Medicare Gurus. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome, guys. See you later.